Good day, class. In today's topic, we'll be looking at the point. And let me write the word point. And how does a point look? It is simply a single dot. That's a point. Okay. Visible? Yes. So, the point is simply a location in space or on a surface. By definition, let us see. A point is a location in space or on a surface. On a surface. This paper here is a surface, so that's a point. Location in space could be in the air. That's also a point. Now, what can we say about the point? A point is tiny, that is said, or that is said, or that can be said, that is said to have a position but no size. But no size. Now, obviously, this has a size, but a point is simply a spot that doesn't have a size. Okay, it has a size because I want you to be able to see it. So the point is much smaller. Think of it of the tip of a needle, the pointed end. It is so small you cannot see it. An atom, that's a point. Okay, so that is what we mean by a point. It is a location in space or on a surface. It is so tiny that it is said to have a position, which is true, but no size. That is for a point. Okay, now we're going to what you call line segment. Let's move from a point and bring line segment. Line segment. Now, what do we mean by a line segment? Well, we call a point. So consider that I take 2 points, 1, 2. So these are the 2 points, and I join those 2 points by drawing a line. Okay, that's a line segment. Now notice what is a line segment. There is a dot here, there's a dot here. That's a line segment. So what can we say? A line segment is part of a straight line, is part of a straight line between two given points. I give you the 2 points, so we can call this A and B, C and D, any kind of labeling that we want. So that is simply a line segment. So notice a line segment has a beginning, has an end, and it is joined by a line, 2 points. That's a line segment. This is the end point or the beginning point, so call this end point. This is also an end point because they are at the end of the line that we did. We can call this A, B, X, Y, and so forth. Okay, this line segment point. Now remember, very important, the 2 dots, so as to show that that's a line segment. Now, point, line segment. Let us go to a line. What do we mean by a line? Well, let's write it down. I'm going to use the same piece here to start with. So consider that I draw, let me use red. I draw my line. I must have an arrow showing direction that it goes infinitely, and I must also show an arrow on this other side. I can put labels inside if I want to, and that is what is known as a line. So what can we say? These arrows represent that this line here will extend infinitely. Okay, in other words, it keeps on going and going and going in both directions, and that is known as a line. Okay, so that is in geometry. So let me give you a definition for a line. a line is said to have length from here to here but no breadth and no thickness. Now obviously this does have a size, but it is just a straight line that is so thin, or it doesn't have any thickness. All right. So that's a line sign, a line. So we have seen point, line segment, line. Now we're going to what is known as area. Okay, now let me draw area. Simply you do it in this direction with an arrow showing that it continues. You must draw a starting point, or you can do it also in this direction, but it needs to show a starting point and an infinitely going sign or symbol for this purpose. Now, not because I draw it horizontally means it cannot be vertically, it can still go vertically. This is also a line segment. This is also a line segment. Likewise with the line, you can put it at an angle, it doesn't make any difference. The point is that it must have these characteristics: starting point, infinitely going, starting point, infinitely going. I only did the dot a little bit bigger so it can be seen that it does have a starting point. So let's give a definition for line, for a ray. A ray is a straight, okay, line extending, notice, extending from a point, that's the point, called the origin. Why is it the origin? Because that is the starting point, therefore that is known as a ray. So from the dot or the spot where it starts, we call that origin. I'll be able to label these parts. You can label A, some spot in between if you want to, it doesn't make any difference, but for convenience let's call a line a with a letters. Okay, so you can call this line AB. This could be known as line segment AB. All right, this is a line or lines or area also. So the point is that we need to give them a label. So not because we put here AB it means that that's the end. No, it's just simply a label that we are giving to them. So now let me bring this back and start to do some labeling. So we could call this here AB or XY, as well as here we can call here AB. Doesn't make any difference. Okay, so that is for a line. Now let us go to what is known as an angle. Angle. Okay, but what's an angle? Okay, let me use my instrument here. I can do my angle this way, that's a line. Okay, remember, and I can do it this way for simplicity's sake, right? So that's an angle. Now these two things here, let's call them line segment because they begin and they end, but for right now let's just call them a line or a side. So this is known as a side, this is also a side. Okay, so where's the angle? Well, the angle is right here. This is the angle, the extended part. Okay, that is the angle. So the sides are sides known and they are adjacent to each other. The space that they make in between, that is known as the angle. Okay, so and the center here where they both intersect is known as the vertex. So we have that. So that's an angle. We have side, side. The point where they intersect is known as the vertex. The extended part is known as the angle. Let me zoom in there a little bit so you can see it much better. Okay, so there we go. So we have the angle. How does an angle look? Well, that's the angle in between two sides or rays, because we can put here a dot in a dot. That's the beginning or the origin. We can call it two rays put together. So let's now give a definition for a line. When two straight lines, I mean for an angle, when two straight lines meet at a point, and where's the point? Right here at the vertex. Okay, so that's the point. They form an angle. They form an angle. So that is known as an angle. Okay, now our next key part here, this angle that is here in between, okay, has a size, has a value that is measured in degrees. How do we call it? The magnitude of the angle. So let me write the magnitude of the angle. What does that mean? Magnitude, or the size of the angle, okay, can also be defined, okay, let me, that is too big now. Let me zoom out back again so you can fit on the screen. All right, so the magnitude, that's the space in between, or size of the angle, can also be defined, okay, as the amount of turn from one line, on which line? Any one of these lines. Okay, it is just from one of them lines, or side, or arm to another about the vertex, to another about the vertex. So that is an angle. Okay, now, is there a symbol for an angle? Yes, the symbol for angle, let me write here, symbol for angle is as follows. That's the symbol for the angle. Okay, this means angle, so that's the symbol for the angle. Once you see this, we're talking of an angle. All right, so, and we usually give it a letter also, angle A, angle B, angle C, and so forth. So now, because the definition says meet at a point, they form an angle, magnitude of the angle can also be defined as the amount of turn from one line. So let's describe that a little bit more by using examples. So if I do this, I draw my line and I draw my next line. Okay, we have our parts. I'm going to give the vertex the label O. I'm going to give this angle given a label. Call this angle A. Right? This is the initial position. This is the final position of the angle. So therefore we draw our symbol this way, and that goes to show that it is opening in that direction. Okay, it's starting from this point going in that direction. All right, now that doesn't mean it cannot go in another direction. It can still go in another direction. That doesn't make any difference. All right,